G'day guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Wildkard. Thank you for being here to watch my content. As always, it is my pleasure and privilege to talk about the greatest team in the world, the Wallabies. So, yes, so all of you guys, the long-term viewers of this channel, I do really appreciate, knows that I absolutely love the Melbourne Rebels, right? I watch them every week. I stay up till 3 o'clock in the morning watching the Rebels lose to the Cats, okay? And, that's, you know how much I love them, right? And it really hurts me to say this, but I think it's time to let the team go. To just take it to the back of the shed and put it down. Once and for all, and just get rid of it. Because today, right? Because today, we know that the goal kicking is an issue. And I think Melbourne is to blame for that. Okay? Because we all know, everybody knows, Melbourne is the capital of AFL, which stands for Awful Fucking League. Amongst booing Aboriginal players, it's just a tiny bit of the awfulness that is the AFL that is hosted, paraded in Melbourne. Okay? And you know why Carter Gordon misses goals? Because in the game of AFL, for some reason, you get a point for missing your goal. I know. Can you name any other sport where you get a participation point for missing a goal kick? Carter Gordon was out there today, right? Thinking to himself, hey, ref, where's my participation points for missing my goals? Hello? Am I not supposed to get a point for missing? Is this not... What's happening here, ref? 0% in the first half. And the only goal he got in the second half was right in front of the goalpost. I mean, 0%. Even I can get 20% goal kick conversions. And I don't know what's going to happen. How are you going to win the World Cup with 0% goal kicker? I don't know. I honestly don't know. Okay? I'm not counting the one that's right in front when a guy in a wheelchair can kick it over. I'm not counting that one. The ones in the first half, most of them are in front as well. None of difficult kicks. 0% from Carter Gordon. He's learning from the best of the AFL teams in Melbourne. My goodness. And I can't believe this. I can't actually believe this. Vunivalu was like the best player on the field today. I know. I couldn't believe it myself. He actually learned to play. So he was actually quite good under the high ball. And he was really good with the ball. Defensively, still has a bit of issue reading the defense. He kind of overextends himself, like really risky rush defense a little bit. Almost letting a try in the first half due to that, like overcommitted himself in a rush defense. And also in the second half, the Damien Pennell try, he kind of misread that. He was literally on the right hand side marking Pennell, and then he kind of just like drifted himself to the other side. And then French saw this, went to Pennell, runs down sideline, chip over, scores a try. So yeah, still working on defensive issues, but high ball, I have to say probably better than anybody else in the Australian team at the moment. So that's kind of positive. So Eddie Jones has got that out of him. And outside of that, I genuinely don't know what else to say. The French was able to play at will, overconfident. Every time the French see space, they kick the ball there, kick the ball there. Really quick reactions, really quick breakdowns. Jonathan Donty, the inside center for the French, again and again getting over the advantage line. I know our number 12, what's his name? Fouquetti is not the starting, like not our number 1 section at 12, so he was getting physically overwhelmed a little bit. The French was just way too clinical and way too fast at the breakdowns. And the good thing for the Wallabies, I did think was that, and I thought, going this match, Only thing I wanted to see is good scrummaging, and that was really good. Daniel Tupou returning and combining with Angus Bell, who's always been good in the scrummaging, really put a lot of pain in the French scrums, against Antonio, Uni Antonio, one of people considered one of the best scrummagers in the world. And they got penalties after penalties from the French from that, so that was a good positive. But then, in the end, I think the overall attacking structure of the Wallabies really lacking. Like, really was just, you're just looking at it and you're thinking to yourself, who's going to actually take the ball over the advantage line? Do they have, like, it looked really disorganized. And it's almost like, they had, like, maybe one or two plays set up, and then they just kind of like run out of ideas. And it was very obvious because it became, despite having more run meters than the French, the Wallabies look absolutely non-threatening for the entire match. Yeah. So the outside of that, I thought that the referee, Luke Pearce, lucky it was Luke Pearce today. There was so many penalties given out, was conceded by the Wallabies. There was one yellow card, and it was conceded by Vunivalu, so we got that one right. But he was kind of on the unfortunate recipient of it. He was kind of like pushed over by his teammates in a rack, and then like sealed off the ball illegally after the French made a break, and the referee considered that a cynical, killing the ball, and had him sent off. But it was not 100% his fault. I have to give him that. Overall, I thought if this was, what's his name? Matthew Carley, there would have been like 4 yellow cards against the Wallabies. The amount of penalties that was given away back to back. Luke Pearce was quite patient, and obviously this is just a warm-up match. Pearce is probably going a bit easy on people as well. And also Luke Pearce clearly has a brain, unlike Matthew Carley. I do like Pearce as a much better referee overall. So yeah, Pearce was really managing the game and not just getting trigger happy, giving out the yellow cards. The Wallabies do seem to also have an issue with high tackles throughout the game. There was so many penalties, like not deliberately, like hitting people in the head, just slipping up in the tackles, neck wraps, and just getting that easy penalties away to the French again and again. The French was at time not clinical themselves. They were giving out a few penalties, more penalties in the second half. They was pretty disciplined in the first half, but second half they started to slip off the penalties as well. And overall, the French I think that once they took the lead, they just become overconfident, like way too confident for Wallabies to handle. Like, they were just happy to, like, the amount of like chip kick behind, it was almost like every second phase. The French is just like, all right, we're gonna kick the ball behind and chase this one down. We're gonna kick this behind because there's a gap we see. Like, as soon as they see a gap behind the defensive line, they put a kick through, because they were overconfident, because Carter Gordon couldn't kick a single goal, and they just didn't care about they just didn't care about putting sustained pressure on. They're happy to just roll the dice constantly because they had nothing to lose, essentially. So that was a very glaring issue for the Wallabies as well in their defense, not really able to deal with that in multiple occasions. So yeah, let's have a look at some of the key moments of the match. Like I said, Wallabies still had plenty opportunities to run the ball. In fact, the Wallabies were leading the run meters at half time. The Wallabies were up 248 run meters to the French 156, despite being behind on the scoreboard. In the end of the match, French had 543 run meters to the Wallabies 486. Turnovers conceded, 12 for the French, 14 against the Wallabies. That's actually not too bad for either teams. We've seen much higher these days in terms of turnovers. Like even like the South African All Black games, the both team conceded 15 and 16 turnovers, which was quite high on the high end. Tackle count 139 tackle for the French, only 19 missed tackles. Wallabies a bit higher on the tackle count because they didn't really have to make that many tackles. 82 tackles made, 21 missed tackles. Definitely want to get that down a little bit more. Kicks in play, 33 kicks for the French, 28 for the Wallabies. Like I said, the amount of little kick behinds for the French was just, especially in the second half. At half time, the kicking was quite even back and forth and very logical kicks. There was 14 kicks for both teams, each at half time. So second half, the kicking game really blew out of hands for the French. 33 overall and 28 for the Wallabies. The Wallabies did exactly 14 kicks as well in the second half, but the French was just way more confident in terms of their little kicks. So they took that confidence into a lot of their kicking game in the second half. The conversions, the only one that Carter Gordon got was literally 5 meters from the goalpost right in front, because Fraser McRae scored under the goalpost, and there were so many goals where it's literally like pretty much should have been 100% for any international test goal kicker, and just miss all of them. And really, I don't know, man. Like he's just not able to cope with that under pressure. I think he probably has too much on his mind as a young fly half. With on the field. He literally debuted for the Wallabies, 4 games ago. Why, right? Off the bench. So he's literally carrying he's literally like, this is, his second or third starting game, other number 10 jersey. And he's just got way too much to think about on the field. And then goal kicking is just another thing that he has to worry about. I really think that they should get someone else to take over the goal kicking. But I don't know who. Who are they going to be? Quay Cooper's not in the squad. Even if they call in Quay, whereas, like, what are they going to do with Quay? They can't put him on the field in any position, really, like, except for the fly half. So they really don't have anyone for that. I think maybe they can try put Donaldson at fullback and try have him do the goal kicks. Or maybe I don't know what's going on. It's a bit of a conundrum here for the Wallabies to work out. For the French, they did have a couple misses. I think Ramos had one miss that was right in front as well. He hit the goalpost in the second half, so he maybe took a nap at half time and then came out, missed his goal kick right in front. So that was just to make sure that everybody is not suspecting him to be a machine, to be an android. He just have to make a mistake to make sure that we all are convinced that he's human. So lineouts, both teams struggled a little bit. The French had 2 lineouts where it seemed like they just didn't get the call right, and Marchand just booked it, fake dummy throw twice in a row. So that's the 2 lineouts the French lost. Wallabies had the lineouts stolen a few times, so the French did have a slightly better lineout, except for the two times where it was like miscommunication or whatnot. Scrummaging, the Wallabies did much better. I was very, very happy to see scrummaging, like I already talked about. Angus Bell, Daniel Tupou, really putting pressure. Tupou was able to pop out the loose head prop a couple of times, and I'm pretty sure that, like, the first scrum, Antonio pancaked under the pressure from Angus Bell, and really, I thought I should have been a penalty, but the ref did not give it. And I was a little bit surprised also, just on that point. Eddie Jones kept Angus Bell and the captain, what's his name? Will Skelton on the field for 70 minutes. Over 70 minutes, actually. So I genuinely don't know why he did that. Like, it's a trial match. If Angus Bell gets injured, we don't really have anybody else at his level for the loose head proposition. I mean, James Slipper, you can put him in that base, maybe. But, and then you got, same with the captain, Will Skelton. Really don't need him to play 70 minutes in a trial match, especially when you're behind by like 20-something points, and there's no way for you to win it anyway. And there's no point of you trying to chase that. I really felt they should have protected them a little bit. I was very, very surprised that they were on the field for that long. It's just a little bit, I think that's poor management, to be honest. I'm just call that poor management from Eddie Jones' part. Probably not his decision. Probably like, it has to be his decision, actually. Yeah, it's just poor management from him. Penalties conceded, 12 against the French, 14 against the Wallabies. Wallabies already conceded 9 penalties in the first half, and there's 1 yellow card to Vunivalu. And it is a bit unfortunate, but it is what it is. So let's quickly go through the summaries of the game. There was a lot of kind of like interesting stuff for this game. A minute into the game, right from the kicker, I thought for sure Thomas Ramos dropped the ball, but the referee said it was okay. There was a few drop balls, but the referee said it was okay. Luke Pearce, including from Tate McDermott. I do feel like McDermott's accuracy was a little bit low today as well. Like the breakdown speed compared to Anton Dupont was way slower, and his passes just not that accurate enough. Like, it's a bit loopy. A few passes went to the ground. Yeah, McDermott really need to work on that. Like that was just again not really ideal to be when you try to have fast ball. So a minute into the game, there was a from this knock on, Wallabies ended up with a penalty right in front, and we've already know the story. Gordon misses this one. 5 minutes into the game, Tupou gives up high tackle. There were so many high tackles from the Wallabies, and the French decides to go for the line out for this one. No goal kicking. This was an easily kickable one. They go for the line out. There was no more. A fake more. In fact, the ball pops out to Dupont. Dupont flat ball to Jonathan Dante, who's played extraordinarily well. He just belts himself into the 9-10 channel. Way too strong. Goes basically drags him through for the first try for the French team. 7 points to 0. 10 minutes into the game, there was a 5-meter penalty for the Wallabies. They go for a 5-meter line out. It does look like the Maul was defended quite well by the French, but it did look like the Maul was going forward. At this point, I did notice that Vunivalu got involved with the Maul. He did this for the Reds. I don't know if that's planned for the Wallabies, because I know he's the blindside flanker. He stands behind the Maul. I don't know why he gets involved in the Maul. But he did this once, which is something that I was a bit surprised to see. He does that for the Reds. I don't know if this is something that the coach wanted him to do there. So after this Maul, Wallabies gets another penalty. So then they get another line out, go for another Maul. Gets another penalty advantage for collapsing. They send the ball out wide, and then just quick hands to the winger. Nwanga Nitawasi goes in for the first try into the corner. Gordon misses his one, and the goal kicking was, we were talking. Yeah, this was from the sideline, but still. 15 minutes into the game, the French was in the offense. They almost scored a try here. Vunivalu overcommitted on his rush defense a little bit. The Anton Dupont just like dummied a pass and then threw the ball around him. And then there was a bit of a opportunity for Villiers to go into the corner, but good defense from Nwanga Nitawasi to sweep across and took him out. And then there was after this is where the French lineouts has gone awry twice. 2 fake throws from Acons. And then 23 minutes into the game, there was a high tackle from the Wallabies again. French takes the 3 points, 10 points to 5. 26 minutes into the game, the Wallabies gets penalized again for not rolling. France takes another 3, 13 points to 5. Right from the kickoff, Nwanga Nitawasi takes off the player in the air. Easy penalty. And then the 30 minutes into the game, the Wallabies gets themselves a penalty for themselves. They basically go for a 22-meter line out, and then the Wallabies knock on their own line out throw. Like in the try to settle the Maul just knocked on in the Maul, in fact. The first scrum happened around this time, and I thought Antonio Wooni pancaked on the bell. Penalty wasn't given. And then immediately after the first scrum, there was another scrum. And then Wallabies clearly showed dominance and gets a scrum penalty, which was really, really good. And then Carter Gordon takes the opportunity to miss another penalty goal. So that was still 13 points to 5. 34 minutes into the game, Jalibert basically took out, looked like he'd taken out Andrew Callaway in the air, but he was like affected with his high ball challenge by Carter Gordon blocking him. So the referee actually penalized Carter Gordon for obstruction. So then this was another kickable penalty for Ramos, and he kicks this one from like almost pretty much 50 meters out. 3 points for French, 16 points to 5. Just before half time, just before half time, the French is starting to open up the play a little bit. There was a little nice kick behind Villiers. What's his name? Oh, sorry. This was a nice keeping by the Wallabies, and there was some nice pick behind, and then there was like the Villiers was trying to get the ball up. He kind of like loses the ball just in front of his own try line, and a bunch of Wallabies players piles in, picks the ball up. Fraser McStry crashes through, and he got held up, which was a little bit disappointing. I thought this really could have been a try. Got saved, and then just before halftime, both teams will try to score tries left and right. I was kind of happy about this. The Wallabies was behind. The clock is ready. They could kick the ball out and call it a halftime, but they decided to go for tries, and French went for a try themselves. But eventually neither team was able to score. They played like an extra 4 minutes almost before they went into the sheds, which was quite happy for me. Extra rugby. 41 second half starts a minute into the game. Australia gives another high tackle penalty. I'm surprised nobody has been sent off for that this game. And then the Ramos actually misses this one. This was right in front. He hits the goalpost. Probably, still feeling a bit, still waking up from his nap at halftime. 48 minutes into the game, there was a nice high ball cross field, and Vunivalu took that quite well. 50 minutes into the game, the Wallabies has another penalty in the kickable position and decided not to take the penalty because obviously Carter Gordon's having a big issue. They go for the 5-meter line out. Cameron Woolkey steals this one, which was really, really disappointing. 53 minutes into the game, the French had a quick tap penalty around 50-meter mark. Dupont runs through. He gets tackled a bit short. Villiers picks up the ball, runs through as well. He gets tackled, and Vunivalu tries to jackal the ball, and he gets pushed over to the French side and then gets seals over the ball. A referee deemed this a cynical killing of the ball, and Vunivalu gets sent out for a yellow card. Yeah, and then Ramos takes the 3 points for the French, ticks the scoreboard up to 19 points to 5. And then with Vunivalu in the bin, the breakdown speed is really starting to pick up for the French, trying to capitalize on that one-player advantage. Jonathan Danty once again just pound himself through the middle of the field, getting over the advantage line, and then the ball kind of went out to Fiku, who also went through and then offloaded to Jalibert. Jalibert went through and then offloaded to Fiku. Fiku ran through and got about 2 minutes short from the try line, and then the Australian was just like scrambling back to try to cover this. Dupont gets the ball. Instead of passing, there's literally like 3 people out wide, unmarked. Instead of passing, he decides to do a crossfield kick, just like a kick pass instead, like over, just to show how good he is, or like I guess flex on his kicking game, just to little over the top. And what's his name? Damien Pennell catches it, puts the ball down. There was 2 players next to him as well. So there was way more than enough to score that one. 26 points to 5. They missed the penalty here. This was a difficult one for Ramos. And 60 minutes into the game, finally the Wallabies was able to get themselves on the front. This was a play where I thought this is straight out of the England playbook. In fact, this is probably a South African playbook. Right outside the 22, the halfback punts the ball up in the air into the 22. Outside trying to do into the 22. But luckily, the guy, the Wangani Tawasi, was able to recover this right under Ramos. So Ramos was not able to take this, and Wangani Tawasi takes this ball, and then he kind of pops the ball offload to Carter Gordon, who ran up really close to the try, and the ball comes out. Fraser McRae was just running full speed straight in towards the post, and then he gets the ball and he just cuts straight through under the post, and then give Carter Gordon the one and only goal right in front of the goalpost that he kicked over, and he got a bit of a sarcastic applause from the French crowd after he kicks this one. 62 minutes into the game, Thomas Ramos kicks a 50-22, which was really, really well done. And then the French just play some really quick crash balls down center field. Again, Jonathan Tanti getting over the advantage line, and then they send the ball quick out wide. What's his name? Quick ball out wide. Jalibert gets the ball center field essentially, and then he instead of passing, he did a kick over behind, and then the ball bounces perfectly for Villiers, who goes in for another try for the French. 31 points to 12. So after this try was scored, there was a lot of just little jab kicks behind with the French team, which turned not really into anything. The 73 minutes into the game, Wallabies had this set move, which was quite impressive. Vunivalu was just like tracking left and right behind the rock. Not really sure. It looked like not sure. He almost looked like he didn't know where he was going. And then out of nowhere, he just starts bolting down the blind side. And then the halfback, this obviously communicated. The halfback just pops a high ball behind into the 22. And then Vinivalu did a little cheeky bump on what's his name? On Jamine, and then catches the ball, puts the ball down. Easy try. The referee had a look. He was very close for being offside. And then the little bump for Jamine, the referee said it was okay. It was shoulder to shoulder. And then, it was very nice take for him. Gets another try. And the Connor Gordon misses this one, obviously. 38 points to 17. And just before full time, the French gets a penalty, 50-meter mark, right down the middle. And Jamine pops this one straight through. 41 points to 17, the final score. So yeah, that's the end of the game. I saw some good offloading by the Wallabies, which was good, but the raw talent the French had out on the field was just a bit too much. The French did not look that clinical, especially for the first half, but they did look a lot more threatening in the second half, and the Wallabies was pretty much being had circles running around them in the second half by the French team. But yeah, I don't know. I'm feeling a little bit more confident that the Wallabies can potentially beat Wales, and maybe it'll be a close game with Fiji. A bit more confident about that. But still, I don't see how Wallabies can win the World Cup. But let's just hope that we make out of the pool. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you guys next week not next week. It's already next week. I'll see you guys in tomorrow for the news. Not tomorrow, in 2 days. Tuesday for the news. Thanks for watching. Cheers.